Hi BC family, welcome to your midweek devotion. This week I wanted to talk to you guys about a fresh start or a new start. So I love fall for so many reasons, but one of them is that as a teacher, it feels like a brand new year to me, a fresh start. And I always have to ask myself, what do I want this season to look like? Summer's coming to an end, I'm moving into fall, what do I want it to look like? Charlotte Gamble told this story one time that was hilarious, and it just really made me think, so I wanted to retell her story. She told the story of a family that was in front of them in line at an airport in the UK, and they were traveling somewhere, and their suitcases were way overfilled. They were way too heavy, way over the limit, and she didn't give the amount, but she said that it was an astronomical amount that they had to pay in order to continue on their journey. And so they were super mad, and they're fighting with the lady, and they were using not nice words, but the lady told them, "I'm sorry, the rules are the rules, and you can't get on the plane with all of this stuff. You can't continue on with your journey. You can't go to the new destination holding on to all this stuff." So this family exited the line, and they unpacked all of their luggage, and then they proceeded to instruct their kids to put all of the clothes on. And so she was cracking up when she told the story, because she said they went from normal sized people to looking like the Michelin Man. She said they put on like 5 pairs of trousers, 6 pairs of shirts. I mean, they had to put on layer after layer after layer. And then they got back in line. And although their luggage was lighter, she said they looked outrageously uncomfortable. Like everyone was just staring at them like, you're really gonna get on a plane for 8 hours wearing that? But they thought that they beat the system. They thought that they lightened their load, right? And it made me start to think that many times we're walking through a valley, or we just left a storm, or we just left a season, and we have this extra baggage attached to us. We are walking through it with bitterness or unforgiveness, or we kept an offense, or we kept this grief or this anxiety or this fear. And we have this extra baggage with us. And we have to ask ourselves, what do I want to carry with me into this next season as I step into this next season? So one of the things the family did that I really liked is that they took a step back and they took inventory of their baggage. And that's important to me because we need to be willing to take a step back and take inventory of what baggage are we holding on to. You may have just left a season, you may have just left a storm, or maybe you're walking through your valley and you're trying to get to that mountain, but you have to take a step back and think, what am I layering on that's making this journey to the new uncomfortable? Did I really lighten my load, right? 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Cast the whole of your care, all of your anxieties, all of your worries, all of your concerns once and for all on him, for he cares for you affectionately and cares about you watchfully." This verse came to mind when I was listening to the story about getting rid of the baggage. It reminded me of just casting it onto him. Matthew 11:28 begins with, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden and overburdened." They were overburdened with excess. They had too much baggage. And this verse continues with, "I will cause you to rest." God's saying, come to me with that extra, with that excess. Don't just keep the clothes layered on as you're walking through. He says, no, bring it to me. And he says, I will cause you to rest. I will ease and relieve and refresh your souls. When we come to him and we cast it off to him, he will make it so that as we continue in on our journey and our season and our climb, our burden is light and easy to bear, as long as we're willing to take inventory and cast the negative, cast the evil, cast the pain onto him. Now, watch what this family did. They took a step back and took inventory, and although they thought they lightened their load, they did it in a way where they actually didn't lighten their load, did they? The weight never changed. Nothing changed. They just moved it over, right? So some of us think, oh, I did lighten the load. I did forgive that person, but in actuality, you're still carrying the bitterness. I let that offense go. Or did you just layer it on in a different way and hide it under another sweater, right? What has God told you to let go of, but you're putting on instead of casting off? You're hiding it under layers rather than truly giving it to God. It's a heart-to-heart. It's having that real heart-to-heart with yourself. Like I said earlier, I love fall. I love it. I love putting away summer and bringing out fall decor. I love the feeling of a fresh start and a new journey. But if I didn't put away summer, then my house would begin to get crowded, right? If I left all my summer stuff out and then I brought in my fall, and then we move into Christmas, right? And now my house is cluttered with stuff and I can't enjoy the season that I'm in. I can't enjoy fall when it's full of summer. And then we push, and you keep progress, right? You keep moving on in your journey. So now we're moving from fall into Christmas, and I bring in all my Christmas stuff, but I'm not enjoying the season that I'm in because I'm overcrowded and overburdened with stuff that I didn't let go of, right? I love Habakkuk because he knew that in order to move forward into a new place, he had to cast off the negative. So I want to read something from Habakkuk 3:17-19, and this is in the Message. It says, though the cherry tree doesn't blossom and the strawberries don't ripen, though the apples are worm-eaten and the wheat fields stunted, though the sheep pens are sheepless and the cattle barns are empty, I'm singing joyful praise to God. I'm turning cartwheels of joy to my Savior God, counting on God's rule to prevail. I take heart and gain strength. I run like a deer. I feel like I'm king of the mountain. Love Habakkuk. Now, when you're thinking about that, you're like, well, I don't have an apple orchard. I don't have cherry trees. But you need to fill it with things that you may be facing. Although the job was taken and the family is divided, although the sickness is still here and the money hasn't produced, although the child is wayward, right? You fill it with your version of events. And if you just heard me, that's a lot of events for Habakkuk, right? But the part that you want to focus on and the part that you want to open your mouth for is when it says, but I'm singing joyful praise to God. I'm turning cartwheels of joy to my Savior God, counting on God's rule to prevail. I take heart and gain strength. I run like a deer. I feel like I'm king of the mountain. Now you might think, how do I go from this devastation, the season, the storm I'm facing to I'm turning cartwheels of joy? I heard another story, and this one was by Natalie Grant, and I liked this perspective too. She told a story about how recently her kids came home from camp and they were doing some sort of like backbend or bridge, and she was watching them do this, and she was like, well, I can do that. Like, I invented this. And so she got up with no stretching, no conditioning, no practice whatsoever, and she went to go do it. She torqued her body, and then suddenly she ruptured a disc in her neck. And although she was laughing about this, the point that she was trying to make was that she wasn't ready to go from doing nothing to a full-blown backbend, right? She wasn't ready for that. It's difficult to go from a season or be in a valley and a storm that you're facing and suddenly start turning cartwheels of joy, right? I can't just go from summer to fall and not actually put things away and make that transition, right? It's a transition, it's a journey. This is where it becomes that journey to get ourselves in this place of feeling like we're king of the mountain despite everything. And part of that is taking a step back and taking inventory of your heart and saying, okay, I'm tired of being stuck in this valley. What do I need to do to gain strength again? I love how Habakkuk said, I gain strength. What do I need to do to move forward to where you've called me to be? What is there that really shouldn't be? And then casting your cares and your worries onto God, giving up your hurt, your anger, your frustration, your sadness, your grief, your offense, truly giving it to God, not just hiding it under layers, but actually taking it off and giving it away. So this week, I want you to take inventory. Did you think you lightened your load, but really you're still carrying it? I mean, have that true heart-to-heart with yourself. What do you want to see in this new season? What do you want to see happen in your valley? What are you wanting to see? Go to God this week with the stuff and talk with him about what you want and let him take your cares. And when you do this, when you come to him taking inventory of your heart, when you do all of that, he will ease and relieve, right? And refresh your soul. He will cause you to rest in him. And then you're going to be doing your cartwheels of joy. When he takes that burden and now you're lightened and you're restful, you may still be wandering in that valley. You may still be coming out of that storm, but now you can see what Habakkuk saw. You're gaining strength. You're turning cartwheels of joy and you see yourself as king of the mountain. So this week, have your heart to heart. Take that inventory and make sure you're not layering it, but truly give it and cast it off to God. Have a great week.